Hello everyone, I want to start by asking you something simple but important. Have you ever been in a moment where your heart felt heavy, but your mind was still searching for answers? Maybe you've been there, caught in that complicated space where you wonder if the person you care about is truly right for you. It's a feeling that many of us know all too well. The mix of hope, confusion, and that subtle nagging doubt. When it comes to relationships, especially those with women we've grown to care deeply about, there are moments when words spoken can change everything. Sometimes, a single sentence from her can either deepen the bond or quietly signal a door closing on your future together. Now, this isn't about playing games or decoding mysterious signals. It's about recognizing moments of clarity, those 5 things she might say that aren't just words, but red flags telling you to step back and protect your heart. You see, walking away isn't about giving up. It's about knowing your worth and understanding when the energy you invest isn't being matched with respect, honesty, or real connection. It's about choosing yourself in moments when staying might only bring more pain. In this video, I'm going to take you through those 5 critical phrases. Things she might say that should alert you. That whisper inside saying, "This isn't right." We'll explore not only what these words mean, but why they matter deeply for your emotional well-being. This isn't about judging her. It's about empowering you to recognize when to hold on and when to walk away with your dignity intact. So, if you've ever found yourself doubting your place in a relationship or questioning if you're truly valued, this conversation is for you. Let's dive in gently but honestly, and by the end, you'll see these moments with new eyes that protect your heart and honor your journey toward love that truly deserves you. Let's start with something many of us have felt but rarely talk about openly. The slow sinking feeling when you realize something in your relationship isn't quite right. Maybe it's a subtle shift in the tone of her voice, or the way her words don't quite match her eyes anymore. It's that moment when you start to wonder if you're holding on to a version of her that no longer exists, or maybe never did. Relationships aren't just about love and laughter. They're about trust and honesty, about feeling safe enough to be vulnerable without fearing judgment or abandonment. But what happens when the very words she speaks begin to chip away at that safety? When the phrases she uses don't feel like invitations to grow together, but warnings flashing like stop signs on the road of your connection? That's what we need to listen for. Because sometimes, the words she says aren't just casual remarks. They're signals telling you to protect yourself. It's painful, I know. No one wants to be told to walk away, especially when feelings run deep and history is long. But knowing when to let go is one of the bravest acts of self-respect. It's not about anger or bitterness. It's about clarity and courage. When she says certain things, those 5 key things, they aren't just passing comments. They are moments when your emotional safety is at risk, when the foundation beneath your relationship is cracking. The first phrase you might hear is one that sounds innocent, but carries a heavy weight. "I'm just not ready for a serious relationship." Now, you might think, okay, maybe she needs time. But if this keeps coming up, if it's her constant excuse whenever you try to get closer or plan a future, it's a red flag. It's a way of keeping you at arm's length, a way of saying, without really saying it, that you aren't a priority. And if you find yourself waiting for her to get ready, you're putting your heart on hold for something uncertain. That's not love. That's hesitation dressed up as a promise. Then there's the phrase, "I don't want to talk about it." It's simple, but so powerful. When emotions rise and you ask about what's going on, if she shuts down and refuses to share, it's a wall being built between you two. Communication is the lifeblood of any relationship, and silence in the face of problems doesn't heal wounds, it deepens them. If she consistently avoids these moments, she's choosing distance over connection, and love can't survive in a vacuum of silence. And what about when she says, "You're overthinking things"? That phrase often tries to gaslight your feelings, making you doubt your own intuition. If you feel uneasy, if something doesn't sit right, telling you it's all in your head is a way of dismissing your reality. When your emotions are invalidated repeatedly, it erodes your sense of self and leaves you questioning whether your needs even matter. These are the early warnings, the subtle shifts that shouldn't be ignored. Because when these patterns take root, they usually lead to the deeper issues, the things she might say later that cut even deeper. But recognizing these first signs is the beginning of protecting yourself. It's the moment you decide that your emotional well-being is worth more than uncertainty, worth more than waiting for someone else's readiness or willingness to meet you halfway. Now, we haven't even gotten to the more painful things she might say, the ones that truly tell you it's time to walk away. But before we go there, let's pause and reflect on this. Every relationship deserves honesty. Every man deserves clarity. And sometimes, the kindest act you can do, for yourself and for her, is to step back before you get too entangled in words that don't serve you. Let's continue this journey by exploring the next things she might say that quietly but clearly ask you to let go. Not because love isn't possible, but because you deserve a love that feels real and whole. When you start hearing phrases that pull the rug from under your feet, it's a sign the relationship is drifting into dangerous waters. One of those is when she says, "I don't want to change." On the surface, this might sound like a confident statement of self-assurance, and in some ways it is. Everyone deserves to be loved as they are, but when it comes up repeatedly in response to concerns, requests, or moments where growth is needed, it becomes a way to avoid responsibility. It's a shield against vulnerability and connection. Imagine this: you bring up something that's been bothering you, not as an attack, but as an honest attempt to improve your bond, and instead of a conversation you get a cold, "I'm not changing." That phrase can feel like a door slammed shut. It tells you she's unwilling to meet you halfway, unwilling to grow with you. In relationships, growth isn't about losing yourself, it's about evolving together. When one partner refuses to budge, it leaves the other standing alone, feeling unheard and unseen. Then there's the dangerous phrase, "It's not you, it's me." It's been said so often it almost feels like a cliché. But it's important to understand why it's a warning sign. Usually it's a polite way to avoid honest communication. Instead of explaining what's really wrong, maybe her feelings changed, maybe she's not ready, maybe she doesn't respect the relationship, she uses this line to create distance while sparing your feelings. The problem is, it doesn't spare your heart. It leaves you confused, stuck trying to figure out what went wrong, when sometimes the truth is that she's just checked out emotionally. Hearing that can stir up a whirlwind of emotions: doubt, sadness, frustration. But it also asks you to look inward and ask, am I holding on to a story that's no longer true? Because love, real love, doesn't require guessing games. It asks for clarity, for presence, for commitment. When those aren't there, it's kinder to let go than to hold on to an illusion. Another phrase that cuts deep is, "I don't trust you." Trust is the foundation on which love builds. Without it, there's nothing solid to stand on. But what's even more painful is when that phrase is used casually or repeatedly without effort to heal or rebuild. If trust has been broken beyond repair, or if accusations fly without cause, it creates a toxic environment where suspicion poisons the connection. No one can thrive under that weight. If she says this and doesn't work with you to restore it, it's a sign that the relationship has become unhealthy and your peace of mind is at stake. These words are not just about her, they're about how she views you and the relationship. And if her words show a lack of respect, care, or desire to grow, then the most loving thing you can do is protect yourself by walking away. It's heartbreaking to admit, but sometimes love isn't enough. You can want someone deeply, you can hope and pray for change, but if the other person isn't willing to meet you in honesty and respect, staying will only drain you. Your time, your energy, and your heart are precious. Don't give them away to words that undermine your worth. Understanding these phrases helps you see the truth behind the mask. It helps you reclaim your power. Because when you walk away from words that hurt you, you're not giving up on love. You're making space for the love that deserves you. There comes a moment in many relationships when the things she says aren't just words floating in the air. They become a mirror, reflecting the true state of your connection. And sometimes that reflection is hard to look at, but it's necessary, because if you want a love that nourishes and sustains you, you need to listen deeply, not just to what is said, but to what is left unsaid. By now, you've probably started to notice a pattern. The phrases that once might have seemed harmless or even kind start to reveal themselves as signs that the relationship isn't where it needs to be. And here is the painful truth. When those 5 critical things come up in her words, it's time to walk away, not because you want to give up, but because you deserve better. Let me share with you the last 2 phrases that are the clearest markers. These are the ones that, once spoken, shift the energy so dramatically that staying becomes a form of self-neglect. The first is the phrase, "I don't want to be tied down." There's a lot to unpack here, because on the surface, this might seem like a statement about freedom, independence, or simply needing space. And in healthy relationships, all those things are valid and necessary. But when it becomes a consistent refrain, especially after you've expressed your desire for closeness or commitment, it becomes a barrier. Imagine loving someone who keeps their distance emotionally, keeps you guessing about where you stand, and keeps saying, "I'm not ready to be tied down." It creates a limbo where your heart feels caught in the middle of hope and uncertainty. What this phrase often masks is a deeper reluctance to fully engage or invest. It's a way of protecting oneself from vulnerability by keeping the other at arm's length. When she says this, it's a signal she's not willing or able to give you what you need. Not right now, or maybe not ever. And as hard as it is to accept, holding on to someone who won't fully show up for you is a slow form of heartbreak. It's like trying to build a house on sand. You might have beautiful moments, but the foundation is shaky. Then there's the phrase, "I don't love you anymore." There's no gentle way to hear this, and no soft landing for your heart. It's the final curtain in many relationships, a phrase that signifies the end of the emotional bond that once held you together. And while it's devastating to hear, it's also brutally honest. When love fades, it leaves behind a complex mix of grief, anger, confusion, and sometimes relief. But what matters most in this moment is how you respond. Do you chase after her, begging for a love that's gone? Or do you gather your strength and honor the truth that has been spoken? Walking away here is not about losing. It's about preserving your dignity. It's about recognizing that love cannot be forced. And that sometimes the most loving thing you can do for yourself is to let go. Now, you might be thinking, what if she's going through something? What if these words come from pain or fear and not from a place of real truth? And that is a fair question. Because relationships are complicated and people sometimes say things they don't fully mean when they're hurting or confused. But here's where clarity is your ally. When these phrases become patterns rather than isolated moments, when they're repeated without follow-up, without efforts to communicate, without signs of growth or change, they stop being expressions of momentary pain and become markers of deeper disconnection. At that point, staying is not an act of love, it's an act of denial. And denial, no matter how hopeful, leads only to more pain. I want you to remember something crucial. Your worth is not measured by how much someone else chooses to love you. Your value isn't tied to their ability or willingness to stay. It's something that exists in you independently, waiting to be recognized and honored. Walking away when she tells you these things is a declaration that you won't settle for less than you deserve. It's a statement that you're ready to receive a love that is reciprocal, honest, and nourishing. And while the decision to walk away is never easy, it can be the first step towards healing and eventually towards a love that truly fits you. Think about the energy you carry, the energy you invest in loving someone who may not be ready or willing to meet you halfway. That energy could be directed towards yourself, your growth, your passions, your happiness. When you let go of a relationship that diminishes you, you free up space for new possibilities. It's not just about finding someone new, it's about rediscovering yourself. It's about waking up one day and realizing that your heart is no longer bruised, that your mind is no longer clouded by doubt, and that you're whole again. And here's the beautiful paradox: sometimes it is in the act of walking away that love finds you in a new form, maybe with someone else, maybe with yourself. You see, love that's built on honesty, respect, and true connection doesn't require compromise of your core self. It invites you to be vulnerable and strong at the same time. It allows you to grow without losing your essence. So when you hear those 5 things, those phrases that warn you of distance, hesitation, or fading love, listen deeply. Don't silence that inner voice that tells you to protect your heart. Because the most powerful love story you can live is the one where you honor your worth and refuse to settle for less. I want to encourage you to share your thoughts or experiences in the comments. Have you ever been in a situation where words made you question if you should stay or leave? How did you navigate that? Your story might be the light someone else needs. And if this conversation has resonated with you, please give this video a like and subscribe to the channel. There's more ahead about navigating relationships with courage and clarity. Remember, you deserve a love that feels like home, not a place of confusion or pain. Here's to honoring your heart, to choosing yourself, and to living your best life at any age. There's something profoundly courageous about walking away. Not everyone sees it that way, because in a culture that romanticizes forever, giving up feels like failure. But what if walking away isn't failure? What if it's the most loving, strongest choice you can make for yourself and for her? Let's sit with that idea for a moment. Walking away doesn't mean you didn't try hard enough. It doesn't mean you weren't good enough or that your love wasn't real. It means you honored your heart's boundaries. It means you recognized when the emotional investment you were making was no longer safe, no longer healthy. And it means you trusted yourself enough to say, I deserve better. When a woman tells you those 5 things, the ones we've been exploring, she's giving you a map. It's a roadmap to where the relationship stands. She might not say it with kindness or even clarity, but the message is clear if you're willing to listen. And when you listen, you create space, not just space for yourself, but space for her too. Space to grow, to heal, to be honest with what she really wants. Because sometimes the hardest truth is that 2 people can love each other, but not in the same way or at the same time. Sometimes love fades not because there was no spark, but because life changes, priorities shift, or fears get in the way. And that's okay. Love is not always meant to last forever. And it's certainly not meant to hurt us endlessly. But what's never okay is staying in a place that diminishes you, where her words make you feel less than worthy, where you're constantly second-guessing yourself, and where your emotional needs go unmet. I want to be very clear here. Walking away is not about anger or resentment. It's about self-preservation and respect. It's about choosing peace over pain, clarity over confusion. And yes, walking away hurts. It shakes the foundation of your world. It feels like a loss, a grief that doesn't have a clear shape. But grief is part of healing. It means you cared, you invested, you allowed yourself to be vulnerable. And that vulnerability is a sign of strength, not weakness. When you walk away, you're not closing the door on love. You're opening a window to new possibilities. Possibilities where your heart can breathe, where your mind can find rest, where your spirit can grow. It's important to acknowledge the fears that come with walking away. Fear of being alone, fear of starting over, fear of the unknown. Those fears are real and they're valid. but they don't have to keep you stuck. Ask yourself, what is the cost of staying? What parts of yourself are you sacrificing by holding on? And what would happen if you gave yourself permission to move on? Imagine the relief of no longer carrying the weight of someone else's doubts or indecision. Imagine the freedom to invest your love where it's welcomed and reciprocated. Imagine waking up with a sense of peace, not anxiety. That's the gift of walking away at the right time. Now, how do you actually do it? How do you walk away without losing yourself or drowning in regret? First, give yourself permission to feel. Don't rush past the pain or try to numb it. Cry if you need to. Write down your thoughts. Talk to someone you trust. Processing your emotions is the foundation of healing. Second, set clear boundaries. This means deciding what kind of contact, if any, you want to maintain. Sometimes a clean break is necessary. Other times, space and distance are enough. The key is that your boundaries honor your well-being. Third, focus on rediscovering yourself. What are your passions, your dreams, the things that make you feel alive? Reconnect with your identity outside of the relationship. This is your time to grow stronger and more grounded. Fourth, practice self-compassion. It's easy to blame yourself or feel shame after a breakup. But remember, ending a relationship that no longer serves you is an act of courage. Speak to yourself kindly. Treat yourself with the love you deserve. Fifth, open yourself gently to new experiences. This doesn't mean rushing into a new relationship. It means allowing yourself to meet new people, try new things, and expand your world. Lastly, remember that healing isn't linear. Some days will feel lighter, others heavier. That's okay. Be patient with yourself. Walking away can feel like an ending, but it's also a beginning, a chance to reclaim your life and your joy. And when you're ready, when your heart has healed enough, you'll find love again. Maybe it will come in a different form, a deeper form, a love that feels safe, joyful, and true. This journey isn't easy, but it's worth it, because you deserve a love that uplifts you, not one that weighs you down. I hope these words bring you strength today. If you're in a place where you're questioning whether to stay or leave, listen closely to your heart. Trust its wisdom. And if you've ever walked away from a relationship, share your story below. Your courage can inspire someone else who's struggling. Please like this video if it helped you, and subscribe for more conversations that support your emotional well-being and growth. Remember, walking away is not the end of your story. It's the start of a new chapter, written by you for you. As we come to the last part of this conversation, I want to remind you that relationships at their best are journeys of mutual respect, vulnerability, and growth. But they are also mirrors, reflecting back to us who we are and what we truly need. Sometimes, those reflections show us that it's time to turn away, not out of bitterness or defeat, but out of deep respect for ourselves and for the love we still carry inside. When she says those 5 critical things, the ones we've unpacked throughout this series, it's an invitation to listen closely to your own heart. It's a call to protect your emotional well-being and to honor your capacity for love by not settling for less than what truly nourishes you. Walking away is not a failure. It's a declaration that you will not diminish your worth to fit someone else's story. It's a choice to seek a connection that is honest, fulfilling, and grounded in respect. And here's something beautiful. Walking away also opens a door to healing. Healing isn't just about moving on from her. It's about moving towards yourself. It's about rediscovering your values, your desires, your passions, and your boundaries. It's about reconnecting with the person you were before the relationship and the person you are becoming. One of the most profound gifts you can give yourself after walking away is the chance to be whole again. Wholeness that doesn't depend on someone else's love or approval. That wholeness is the foundation upon which you can build future relationships that are healthier and more aligned with who you are. Sometimes after walking away, you might find yourself reflecting on what love really means. Is it about possession or freedom? Is it about security or adventure? Is it about control or trust? These questions are essential because they guide you toward understanding what you truly want and deserve. And remember, love isn't always about staying together. Sometimes love means letting go with grace, compassion, and hope for the future. Because when you let go of what no longer serves you, you create space for something new to enter, something that might surprise you with its depth and beauty. It's natural to feel doubt after walking away. You might wonder if you made a mistake or if you'll ever find love again. Those thoughts are normal, but they don't define your reality. What defines you is your courage to listen to your truth and take action on it. If you're watching this and feel stuck in a place where you're torn between holding on and letting go, know that you're not alone. Many have stood where you stand now, caught between hope and reality. And many have found their way forward by trusting their inner voice, by setting boundaries, and by choosing themselves. Your journey doesn't have to be perfect or linear. Healing comes in waves, sometimes gentle, sometimes crashing. Be patient with yourself. Celebrate the small victories, the days when you feel lighter, the moments when you reclaim your joy, the times when you stand tall knowing you made the right choice. And as you move forward, consider this: the love you seek in others must first be found within. Cultivate that love for yourself daily. Speak kindly to your reflection. Nourish your mind, body, and soul. Surround yourself with people who uplift and support you. Pursue passions that light you up. These actions build resilience and prepare you for the kind of love that truly honors you. In the end, relationships teach us about boundaries, communication, vulnerability, and respect. They challenge us to grow, to forgive, and sometimes to walk away. Each experience shapes the person we become. So as you close this chapter, remember that walking away is an act of self-love. It is a brave step towards a future where you are free to be seen, loved, and valued fully. If you found this series helpful, please share your thoughts in the comments. Your voice matters and could be the beacon for someone else searching for clarity. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe to the channel for more insights into love, relationships, and personal growth. Here's to your courage, your healing, and the love that awaits you. Remember, your heart is strong, and your story is far from over. Live it with intention, dignity, and the fierce love you deserve.